Hello and welcome back to the New London 30-minute podcast. Today I'm joined by Mr. Bence, and we're going to be talking a little bit about duck hunting. So, to get started, how old were you when you first started duck hunting?
Oh man, I started hunting probably 7, 8 years old. I was 7, 8 years old. My grandpa took me when I was a kid and took my older brother. So it's always been kind of something I've grown up and done.
Hmm, sounds like fun. So, uh, where do you hunt?
We own some land. I've hunted all over the place, but mostly along the Mississippi River. It's one of the number one flyways, and there's four major flyways. There's the Pacific, the Missouri Flyway, the Mississippi Flyway, and then the Atlantic Flyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I hunt on the Mississippi River, just across in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
We have some land that we hunt, and it's have some islands and some
Yeah.
backwater and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, so walk us through like the process of from like getting ready to go out. So like, how much do you have to get ready before you're able to go out there?
Well, to be a duck hunter, it's a yearly thing. Like this weekend, for instance, we're getting decoys out of one area and getting it stored for this year. Um, it really is. It's a yearly activity. So the weekend before, we took all the cover off of our duck blind that we had so that it would lighten it up.
Yeah.
Because it's on barrels. We've
Yeah.
got a big floating duck blind. But it's a yearly thing that we do almost every weekend. I'm doing something related
Yeah.
with duck hunting. But to actually duck hunt, I mean, you have to fool the ducks. You have to trick the ducks. Decoys are huge. They've come so far in decoys. The artwork on them is amazing. They look realistic. But then you've got to be on the X. You have to be on the spot, and you have to do a lot of scouting at where the ducks are going back and forth. So that heavily depends on it. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, duck hunting having the biggest decoy spread.
Yeah.
It's you want to go where the ducks want to go. And if the ducks aren't going where you want to or where you want them to go, then you need to pick up and move if you can to the
Yeah.
spot where they are going.
So how many decoys do you own?
Oh, geez. I'm in with a bunch of my lifelong friends that we've hunted together for a long time. I know you think of Addie Pry's dad, Tom Pry.
Yeah.
I hunt with him. We probably have legitimately, I'd say, well over 2,000 decoys.
Oh, wow.
But we probably put out last year. We had shallow water. It was a drier year, so it wasn't as good for duck hunting. I think we put out probably 350 to 400 of them. But we have all
Yeah.
sorts of different kinds. Yeah.
So I know many people probably don't know, but can you talk a little bit about the bag limits on ducks and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure can. In the state of Iowa and Illinois along the Mississippi River, the duck limit is you can kill 6 ducks, but there's different species of ducks, so you have to be familiar with that. Probably the most common duck that most of us know is a mallard. You can kill 4 mallards out of that 6 duck limit. Only 2 can be hens. So ideally, you'd like to take 4 drakes, and that way you can leave the hens. But then you have bonus ducks that you can hunt. Wood ducks are real popular early on in the year. I think the limit's 3 now on that. It used to be 2 forever, and now it's gone up to 3. There's gadwall, there's Weegian, and then you have your diver ducks too. So there's a variety of different kinds of ducks.
So when you say the 6 duck is the bag limit, that's per day?
Per day,
Yeah.
yeah. 6 ducks per day. Then take them home and we clean them. And actually, my son, who's what is he now, 12, he does all the cleaning. He loves to do that, and he'll get everything ready to go and bagged. And then we just had duck last weekend on the grill. So from this year, so we're constantly
Yeah.
eating it.
So tell me the role, like what role does your dog play in duck hunting? Because I know you have a couple of them.
Yep. So dogs are in duck hunting, especially like in the backwater, they're vital. It's not just for show. It's just not like on a magazine cover. It looks cool or whatever. Dogs that hunting dogs, whether it's, your pheasant hunting or duck hunting, I think all the pheasant hunters will tell you that as well. It's vital. It really is. Their nose is tremendous, but nobody really wants to get out like in the water that we hunt in the Mississippi. It is muddy, mucky. It might be 2 foot deep, but you're going to sink another 2 foot in the mud. And it's not easy for an old man like myself, let alone someone your age, to get out there and do that. So dogs do a lot of that work, getting out there and doing that. And the big thing with that is a dog can go out and get those birds. If there are other birds that are circling, I'm not losing time or wasting energy going out after them. So in my opinion, I would never go duck hunting without a dog.
Yeah.
My girl, she's getting older. She's 10 now and showing her age. I think she has another good year left in her, but you got to be careful as a hunter what situation you put your dog into as well. Because if you put him in a situation, an old dog like mine, into a real muddy, mucky situation, they're not going to give up in their mind. Their job is to go out and they're bred to get that, but you got to be really careful when they get older on what situation to put them in.
So, like, how long does it take to train your dogs, and how much training do they have to go through?
Oh, man. I think it's more anything, it's consistency. I would say the first year that I had my dog now, it took a full year. I think she was born right after Christmas time, went up and got her kind of a Christmas present for the family. And then I was hunting her, September, latter part of September in the early season, and she learned an awful lot. And I think one of the biggest things in training is you got to be consistent with the dog. You can't say, if you want a dog to go do something, you can't say, "Oh, go get it, go get it." It's say their first name and a one-word command. Maya out, or Maya come. And dogs got smaller brains than we do. They can't comprehend all of those words and voices, and it's consistency. And I think one of the biggest things with dogs is to have a puppy be around a dog that knows what they're doing. I mean, it's just like you with wrestling. You want to be around someone who can show you the ropes, who's been there and done that. Not just say it, but actually show you how to do it. It's the same way with dogs. They're no different.
So are you going to get a new dog after a couple of years here pretty soon?
Yeah, I probably should have already gotten one, but I don't know. I have a bond with my dog. It's hard. I feel like that she will know when I get a puppy, and she'll be like that she's the odd one out now, getting all that. So, I'm definitely getting one. I'm probably going to wait till this winter again. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed to work well 10 years ago doing that, but I want one more good year with her in there.
So, like when you're not out duck hunting, do you go and throw the toys for your dog to go get them? And for her to come bring them back?
Yep. Try to give her as much exercise as possible. It's no different than an athlete in the off season. I mean, these are athletes. Yeah. They truly are. And they love doing that. It's something, I mean, you can just see it in a dog's eyes when you give them exercise, the difference in laying around the house and doing those things. So constantly out working with her. Yeah. Yep.
So when you're out, and so it's like kind of like a numbers game. You have to keep track of how many you're shooting. So like how many on an average day when you go out with your buddies and everything, how many do you think you'll shoot in a day?
Oh man. Boy, it varies. Duck hunting anymore, it used to be like the old timers would say, like my grandpa and the guys that I looked up to as a kid growing up, they could almost look at the calendar and go, okay, this is going to be good. Now anymore, the way the climate has changed, and I strongly believe climate has changed, it's pushed ducks to go to different areas. It's unpredictable. It's way more unpredictable than what it used to be, but on a good day, I mean, we can get our limit. This year it was tough. You got to have, I mean, it depends on the weather. It depends on the wind. So wind is good for ducks. Yeah. Wind gets ducks going. Even if you have a lot of ducks around, if it's a still day, they're going to see all those imperfections in your blind and your decoys, someone moving in the blind. You got to have wind, and that can kind of mix things up. So if you have a good windy day in the first couple weeks in November around here, you better be going duck hunting.
Yeah.
That's usually, you can almost set your calendar that around Veterans Day. That's usually pretty good hunting. But it used to be you might have a week's worth of good hunting.
Yeah.
Now you got to almost be there on the right day. And then after that, the hunting pressure, honestly, the amount of refuges that are around now in ponds and areas, the ducks will figure out real quick where it's safe and where it's not. But it used to be they had to rely on the Mississippi Flyway. Now every place has a pond, has a refuge, and all that.
Yeah. So I know, like, do you ever like mark ducks to see if they're coming back, like in the duck houses out in the middle of the lakes?
Yeah, we sure do. Actually, good friends of mine, I just put up a wood duck box last weekend at a good friend of mine's farm pond, and added that. And yeah, we do. One time we hatched out over 1,000 wood duck eggs. Now, how successful they are, the success rate isn't very good for ducks to hatch out, but yeah, we still do conservation and actually do banding.
Yeah.
And we've had ducks that have been harvested as far away as Louisiana, as far south as Louisiana, and we've had them harvested as far north as southern Minnesota in that area too. So it's kind of fun to see. Yep.
Kind of see where they're
their
coming
migration
from.
patterns and where they're going, and
So, I'm lost. I'm done with all these questions.
Okay.
Is there any more like about duck hunting that you want to talk about?
I think the conservation part's a big thing. I think a lot of people out there and people that may be listening to this podcast think that it's all about just killing and harvesting birds, and it's so fun to watch ducks and geese. I think so much of it's conservation. If it wasn't for hunters and if it wasn't for conservationists, we wouldn't have the habitat for waterfowl to be able to come and look at. I mean, we have over at our land in Illinois, we have a creek that flows through some of our land, but it's been dammed up by beavers, and it's created such a beautiful backdrop for ducks, for geese, for all sorts of animals. I think it's conservation's the big thing, I think, and constantly just watching birds. The older I get, the more I see. I have fun watching my dog work and my son have fun hunting. And really, I don't need to pull the trigger much anymore. It's just kind of fun to go out.
It's fun to go and watch them learn.
Watch you guys grow up, and you get the hunger to go out and to do those things, and the youth, because it's going to be your generation that's going to have to continue this, So this love of the outdoors.
I feel like that's some of the bigger parts nowadays is some people, they're not really staying with that anymore, and they're kind of getting away. So there's not as many, you don't see as many people anymore out there hunting.
It's true. It's true. And I don't know if it's my generation. We need to do a better job of passing that torch along and talking about that. You guys are so involved, your generation today, in so many different things. We didn't have as much. We didn't have all the technology that you guys have. So, but yeah, we need to do a better job of that. Otherwise, many of these ways of life and these, I don't know, old traditions are going to be gone. And just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah. That's kind of what I think, because I know just a handful of people that still do like hunting my age and stuff and do that. But other than that, most people, they're not really into it anymore. They don't see it how you guys do.
Yep, and being around New London, I think it's kind of a rarity. There's still quite a few kids that like to deer hunt, turkey hunt. New London's known for great deer hunt and turkey hunting around here. And that's fantastic because your parents take you, your grandparents take you. But a lot of the big cities, you get to St. Louis, you get to Chicago, you get to, even Des Moines. Kids, that art is,
they don't
going
get to
away.
see it.
Yeah, we're kind of the minority around here. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to keep that tradition going. Yep.
It's kind of nice to see it too, like when you see kids that are out there shooting animals, and they're not just doing it, because I know some people just do it for like the sport and stuff, but like around here, most of us are doing it to feed ourselves or other stuff like
Well,
that.
absolutely. You know, I think a lot of kids, you know, they've never had wild turkey or deer. I mean, there's a big difference between a domesticated turkey and a wild turkey. Wild turkeys are, you know, they have a darker meat. To me, it's juicier. It's not as dry as sometimes domestic. But yeah, there's a lot of great things out here. I mean, mushroom hunting season's coming up. Morels, you know, going after that. I mean, there's a lot of amazing things to eat out here and harvest in southeast Iowa.
And it's fun to do all that things, like when turkey season comes around. I know I'm out, and there's a couple other people that are out turkey hunting, and then mushrooms. People are go out and be picking mushrooms all over the place.
Crappie are biting right now. You know, crappie fishing. Get out and go, and it's a great. I mean, I think that's what makes Iowa so unique in the fact that we have 4 seasons.
Yeah,
and we can have fun in all 4 seasons with the outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, you can go ice fishing. This year was a pretty good ice fishing year. There was quite a bit of ice. It was pretty cold there for a long time. So I think people, you know, had fun doing that. But then as soon as you get tired with that, then something new comes around.
It's not, you're getting a new change constantly.
Absolutely.
It's different than like the southern states where they're only getting 2 seasons a year, and they got limited options of what to do.
That's what I love about the Midwest is you have all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got something new to do in every season, whether it's ice fishing, to deer hunting, to turkey hunting, to anything really.
Yep. You got it. It's good.
That'll be it for today. I don't really got anything else really to talk about.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Mikey. And it's your job to keep it rolling, your generation. So it's been great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.